Hello, everybody. This is Endere Wigan,
And this is DJ Runke.
and we are the International House of Bacon. And today we're going to be bringing you some Civilization 5 Brave New World footage. So, for this series, we're just going to be doing some highlights from a game we've played. This is the first 250 turns. We're going to be getting to you the last 250 turns very shortly. Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, I've been really excited about this, guys. It's the new Brave New World expansion, so it's going to be really sweet. And we're going to just take the highlights of our game, our standard length game, and talk you guys through it post action. So first, we're going to start out with founding our cities.
Okay, so as you can see, I started out near the southern end of the world because there's some tundra there. I always like starting by the sea. It's nice. I have some pearls, some marble, some stone. But all in all, I'm not too happy with it because it doesn't seem like very fertile land at first, but we'll see how it goes. Um, Pretty soon now, my warrior is going to find a city state, which is pretty nice. Uh, yeah, we're playing on a tiny map, so or a small map.
I believe it's small, 6 players.
Yeah, so 6 players. So this game should go pretty quickly.
And as for me, I have Venice, which I'm really excited to play. It's going to be really cool. My starting location here, you guys can see on the coast in grassland, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I can already see some jungle, which I know is good for science. So I'm pretty happy about the location. With the coast curving around a bit around the city, it makes it much more defensible. Uh, and it's really important to have a good spot for me, and I think this is one because Venice gets their starting city and then nothing else until they start puppeting city states from the great merchants of Venice.
Yeah, and it's good we did a small world for Daniel to experiment with Venice because if it was a much bigger one, then he'd be at more of a disadvantage, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. Here I find my first city state of the game, Bratislava, and I think it's important to show just because for Venice, these are the city states that I'm going to be puppeting. So look to that in the future.
Okay, so here, DJ runs into me. Surprise, surprise, we're like right next to each other, and DJ is a little scared of me, I think.
Just as you expanded into my territory, we don't want any of that happening.
Yeah, and I'm able to do that because I can make settlers, and only stupid people can make settlers.
Exactly. So we both decided to go down the tradition branch. For me, it was a pretty obvious choice, knowing that as Venice, I would have very few cities, if not just one. So that's why I pursued that.
Yeah, and I also decided to because DJ and I played a practice game beforehand where I chose what's the other one?
Liberty.
Liberty. But that was a mistake, so I chose to do tradition.
So here my spearmen stumble into Warsaw. On the mini map, you guys can see just how close we are. They're not planned, just kind of crazy. And I get a little look at what Andrew's doing in Warsaw.
Yeah, will we end up enemies or friends? Stick around to discover that.
So we run into our first NPC player, which is Ethiopia. We'll see what history we have with them.
I don't like them.
No spoilers, man. Here, guys, I found my Pantheon before Ender, and I decided to go, after much deliberation, for religious settlements, which gives me 15% faster border growth. And I don't usually go for this one, but the reason I chose it in this game is because I know I'm going to be on a limited number of cities. And so when I have these few cities that I have, including Venice, I want to snag as much territory with them as possible. So 15% faster border growth definitely helps me in that regard. I can pick up more territory and become a bigger city, which is really important when I only have a few. So here I found my first trade route, which is a new feature to Brave New World. It's really cool. For Venice, it comes in handy, you'll see later in the game, because Venice's special ability, among others, is that they get twice as many trade routes. And unlike in the previous version, Gods and Kings, or the vanilla Civ 5, trade routes become your main source of income. So the more trade routes you can have a very powerful economy, which is really Venice's strong suit since they have so much fewer cities. So trade routes are pretty interesting. You want to talk about some of the mechanics, Ender?
Yeah, I mean, basically you have a limit of trade routes, and as DJ said, Venice has like the double the limit. But it's really important that you found your trade routes as quickly as possible, as quickly as you get them available, because they really are an important part of the balance of how you get your gold. Because if you don't have as many as you can, you're going to start getting negative gold. In the previous versions, it was more that you got gold from buildings and from improvements and stuff. But in Brave New World, gold is kind of taken on a new mechanic in the trading, and that's the main way you produce lots of gold. Okay, so in this clip, I found my second city, and I chose to put it here because there are four resources. I've got some bananas, citrus, gems just outside my borders, and truffles. Three of which are luxury resources, which are really valuable. But it was also kind of a risk because I put it really close to Ethiopia and DJ, which he was complaining about. But I don't see why, because he can't found any cities anyway. So what's he have to complain about?
Here I discovered Ethiopia's capital. I meet our second civ in the game, Carthage. They're going to be one of the underdogs for the remainder of these 250 turns. We'll see after that. But
They can climb mountains.
they can climb mountains, so how
They've
bad
got
can
that.
they really be doing?
Yeah, they've got that going for them.
Yeah. I get my first Merchant of Venice, and I puppet Bratislava. Basically, how this mechanic works is I just have to walk within the borders of Bratislava with my Great Merchant of Venice, and I click the button to buy the city, and it becomes mine. It's still a puppet, but I can purchase with gold in it, and I get all of its military units and workers, which is pretty handy. In this clip, the barbarians pillage my trade route, which I thought was an interesting mechanic that I didn't know about before. Basically, if anyone at war, including the barbarians, step their units onto one of your trade routes that walk back and forth between their two destinations, it gets destroyed and you have to rebuild it.
Yeah, and it's important because you can't actually move your trade routes. Like, they're not units, the caravans. You really have to actually use units to protect them.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so a good while after DJ founded his pantheon, I finally get around to founding mine. It takes me a long time to figure out what I want to choose, but when I do finally settle on something, I chose Tears of the Gods, which is actually kind of an obvious choice because it gives me +2 faith for each source of pearls and gems, and I have like 4 sources of pearls and 1 source of gems, so it's a really good deal for me. And yeah.
It really kickstarts you to your religion.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It helped me catch up a lot. So even though I was way behind on my pantheon, I think my faith kind of kicked up after that. So that was good.
Yeah, definitely. Both Ender and I go down the commerce tree. For me, in particular, this was an easy decision since I'm focusing on gold as Venice, so I can purchase in all my cities.
Okay, so now I'm founding a religion before DJ. Surprise, surprise. And as per usual, it takes me forever to decide. But eventually, I settled on tithe, which gives me 1 gold for every 4 followers of the religion. Seems pretty solid. And then I chose asceticism, or something like that. I have no idea how to pronounce that. And that gives me 1 plus happiness for shrines in cities with +3 followers. And I'm having kind of a happiness problem at this point because I have so many cities. So I thought that was a good choice. You know, I'm just a guy with a lot of cities. What can I say?
Yeah, tithe is definitely one of my favorite too. You get a lot of gold from it, and if you guys ever played Civ 4, a big thing you could do with religion was make a lot of money. So maybe it's just from my old Civ 4 days that I really like the gold, but I almost always take tithe if I can. But Ender snagged it this time.
Jealous much?
A little bit. So on the same turn here, both receive a great profit as well as another civilization founds the final available religion, which is a real bummer. This is the first game I've ever played of Civ 5 where I don't get a religion.
And DJ doesn't deal with rejection very well.
No, apparently not. But so I'm not gonna have a religion this game, unfortunately. So it'll be a contest for all the other civs to sell their religion to me, which is actually an interesting game mechanic that I haven't really experienced before. Is being able to browse through the other religions and deciding what's best for you. But Instead, I choose to send my great prophet over to the desert to the west of my city to found a holy site to get a bit of faith from that, since the desert's not really doing anything else for me there.
It's okay, DJ. You can be angry.
I've gotten over it by now, but I was pretty mad then.
Secret agent man, secret agent man. They're giving you a number and taking away your name. So yeah, we got spies. I put mine in Ethiopia, and I chose for mine to be a spy, not a diplomat. A diplomat gives you intrigue and informs you about that civ's voting tendencies when we get to the World Congress. But I chose a spy, which gives me information on their kind of tactics, what they're planning to do, and also I can steal technologies. So why I chose Ethiopia was because they are kind of leading in the score, so I figured they might have technologies that I could steal.
Yep, and as for me, I put my spy into Cape Town, rather, not Carthage. And Cape Town is a city-state, so I'm having them rig the elections there to gain more influence. The reason I chose Cape Town is because it's one of the city-states that I'm not planning to buy and puppet, so having them as an ally is more useful to me.
War! He attacked me. What the heck? Why would he do that?
Ugh.
I think it's my own fault for settling so close to him. But yeah, Ethiopia declared war on me. I'm pretty upset. He has this special unit, an IMPI, which he was given to by a city-state because city-states can give unique units in Brave New World. The Siege of Krakow will go down in the histories as the day when the brave men of Poland repelled the Ethiopian scum. And now
What a
I'm taking
load
the
of bull.
offensive. I'm taking the offensive back to Ethiopia. They're gonna pay. They're gonna pay.
We will see. I doubt it. In this clip, guys, we get our first tourism of the game, which is a new feature to Brave New World. I have a great writer born, Lewis Carroll. Some of you may recognize him.
I don't.
Oh, really? That's bad. He writes for me, for my civilization, the Venetian great work of writing Alice in Wonderland.
I knew that.
Oh, good job. Good job, Andrew. Anyway, so what this does in Brave New World is produce tourism. People come and see these great works that you display in various buildings. It's a little mini game where you put these great works of writing, great works of music, great works of art into your buildings that can hold them. If you put them in you put the right types of art or writing or music into the right buildings, you'll get a theming bonus. If you can make, all Venetian Renaissance era art, you'll get a theming bonus. And tourism is your offensive culture, basically, that you spread to other nations, and it's a way of victory. If in every other nation in the game you are a dominant culture through your tourism, then you win the game. It's the new culture victory for Brave New World.
Yeah, you get rewarded for bragging, essentially.
Exactly. Show off your works of art, and you get rewarded. But you can also trade for other civilization works of art, which can help you with your theming bonuses. So it's not all bragging.
Gotta catch 'em all.
A little bit like that.
Okay, so you can see now I've brought the offensive to Ethiopia, to his capital. I've surrounded it. I'm not having too much luck with my catapults, though, because he's a smart guy, and apparently he's attacking my catapults, which kind of makes sense because I can't really attack him any other way. So yeah, we'll see how well this goes. I have a lot of knights, which aren't good at attacking cities, and he has a lot of pikemen, which are good against knights. So really, I'm kind of screwed here. Yeah, there's good music.
Yeah, we'll let you watch some of the combat to this music. I recruit a caravel to explore for the rest of the civilization so we can start a world congress. And with my caravel, I run into the other continent, so we'll explore that a bit.
So here I decide to make peace with Ethiopia because really I'm not an angry guy. I just want the good for everybody. And also I was getting creamed by his city, as I explained earlier. So yeah, he also offered me lots of gold, more than he did originally. So win, 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 right?
Win all around.
Okay.
On the new continent, I discover our second to last civilization in the game, which is Mother Russia, led by Catherine. So we exchange embassies and open borders.
I hate him.
Try to declare war on them like Ethiopia, then.
Dang commies.
My second puppet city-state, Valletta, I purchased with my second great merchant. And I meet our final player of the game, Pakal. So now that we have all 6 civilizations discovered by one person, the first World Congress founds, which I'll talk about in the next clip. Okay, so as I just mentioned, the World Congress is now founded because I discovered all 6 of the civilizations in the game. And as such, whoever discovers all the civilizations first hosts the initial World Congress and gets an extra vote. So everyone has 1 delegate to send to the World Congress except Venice, me, who gets to send 2.
He needs something,
Yeah, give me something. Come on, I only have Venice and a couple city-states. But what's really cool about the World Congress is basically it comes around in its sessions a set number of turns, in this case 30 turns for our standard length game, and each session all the civilizations get to vote on proposals, which totally change the rules of the game. For example, for this first session, I choose to try to enact a standing army tax, which basically makes it more expensive to pay maintenance for your military. My thinking behind this was I'm a small nation. War is really bad for me because it'll end the trade route. So having other nations forced to limit their military will be a good thing for me since I don't need a big military myself.
And also he wants to screw me over because I have lots of units.
Of course, that too. That always. So yeah, we'll see how this Congress goes. And as it happens, Ender also gets to make a proposal, which he'll talk about in just a sec.
So yeah, I will not be voting for the standing army tax. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Why not?
But I also got to propose my own. It was just a random occurrence that I got to propose one. DJ got to propose one because he's the host, but I also got to propose one randomly. And I chose Scholars in Residence, which makes it cheaper to research technologies that other civs already have researched, because I haven't really focused on technology that much and I want to catch up.
Which I can tell you now does not make me happy because I have focused on technology and am leading the world in it. So Scholars in Residence does pretty much nothing for me.
We're at odds.
Yeah, you can see we're getting along real well in this game.
So here's the vote. I choose Scholars in Residence. Big surprise.
And with my 2 delegates, I decide instead of voting for my standing army tax, which I would like, to vote nay against the Scholars' Residence because that's more damaging against me. So I put 2 into nay. Though you are able to distribute, I could do 1 and 1 in each of them, and as we gain more, distribute it even more.
Okay, so Scholars in Residence prevailed due to my amazing leadership qualities. The end result was that it was 3 votes yay for Scholars in Residence, 2 votes nay from DJ, and 0 votes yay for Standing Army. So yeah, we won. Or
So
I won.
Scholars in Residence gets passed because of 3-2, but since there are 0 votes for yay for standing armies, it doesn't get passed. So for me, basically, everything went wrong in the first World Congress. But there'll be another one. And the turn after, we get to make our new proposals. As the host still of the World Congress, I get to make a proposal, and I choose to repeal the now standing Scholars in Residence because I really don't like it. And this time, randomly selected is Ethiopia to make the other proposal. So Ethiopia decides to enact, or to propose to enact cultural heritage sites, which essentially each world wonder provides a little bit of extra culture per turn while it's enacted, which is good for Ethiopia because he's been building a lot of wonders throughout the game.
Decisions. This is me deciding what to enhance my religion with, which takes forever, as per usual. I eventually decided to go with religious community, which gives me plus 1% production for each follower, up to 15%. And I just chose that. It wasn't the best. I mean, none of them were really all that great, but because I felt like I could use some extra production. And then I also chose religious texts, which meant that my religion spreads faster, which was really useful because with the tithe, which you'll remember is one of my other tenants, I'll get more gold, which I obviously need because I don't have enough.
Yeah. You're a hoarder.
Yeah. It's a strategy.
You ever seen that show Intervention?
I'm a what is it? A kleptomaniac? No, that's not.
You steal a lot. You steal money from me? Not at all, man. You're a money maniac. I don't know what the word for that is. This highlight is another new feature of the game. I use my great artist to go on tour in Ethiopia, and essentially what this does, it effectively replaces the culture bomb that you could do with great artists in previous versions of Civ 5, but instead of stealing territory with it, you go into another Civ's borders with your great artist, and that Civ gets a huge increase to your tourism, which compares your tourism compares to their culture to determine how prominent your culture is within their borders. So this helps Venice become more known within Ethiopia. So much to my surprise, before the next World Congress, there is a random host host change proposal, which is just, I think, an automatic thing that happens throughout the game, which gives the chance for a new host to be named for the World Congress. In this case, our votes, we got 2 votes per civilization, plus an extra vote for any city-states, plus I get an extra vote for being the host. So with that, and because I've been using my money to ally with city-states, I was able to vote myself to remain as the leader of Congress, and if I remember correctly, each civilization just voted for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, what would be a better venue than Warsaw, really? I mean, people weren't thinking straight.
The flourishing city of Venice is where it's at, man. I'm telling you.
Warsaw's a little cold, I'll give you that. But I still think it would be a great venue.
Maybe next time. Maybe next Congress. Okay, this wraps up our 250 turn summary. We'll get to you with the next 250 turns soon. This last highlight is another new feature within the mini game of your great works and putting them on display. You can make swaps between other civilizations. Here's a little clip of me making a swap to help my theming bonuses. See you next time, guys.
Yeah, see ya.